Fireman down on the road again. I'm in Owings, South Carolina. They're having Frontier Days here today, so come on in and enjoy the festivities and enjoy the music.
Welcome to Pioneer Day. We're at the Culbertson Backcountry Settlement in Gray Court, South Carolina. The Gray Court Owens Historical Society sponsors Pioneer Day, and we founded this village. We moved all these buildings here. They were falling into disrepair where they were, and they're all from our area, except one which is from over in Oconee County, a block house, and we'll show you as we go along. This is the Ora Old Fields Presbyterian Church. It was down on 221 between Lawrence and Ora. There used to be a church here. It was the Gray Court Presbyterian Church, or the Dora Presbyterian Church, but it had been taken down in the 40s, the congregation no longer attending. So we wanted to put a church back here, and one of our members, James Gambrell, had taken this one down. So he said, well, we could get it. So we moved it over here and put it up. We had pictures. We put it up exactly as it had been and used as much of the old material as we could.
Hello, I'm Jack Pendarvis from Simpsonville, and this is a Civil War display. All the articles here are original. We have a musket, a Tennessee pistol, and we have a sword. It's a command sword for the officer to give his command to ready, load, fire. And this is a kepi, homemade. At the beginning of the war, the South, of course, had no army, so they had to make their own uniforms as they go. And this is the kepi, homemade, all original. These are your mini balls, the bullets that go in the musket. To load the pistol, you use a flask. Well, you couldn't sit on a horse and load a rifle. You had to use a pistol, so you could handle the flask real easily. Measure your powder, put it in the pistol, and put the bullet in, and you're ready to go. This is the old-time powder horn. And all of this equipment was used during the Civil War. It's all original.
Thank you.
We have with us today Ted Morton and Henrietta Morton. They are so special in DAR and SAR in South Carolina and in the nation. Henrietta Morton is our past state regent, also our Vice President General, our past Vice President General, and advises DAR and is such an important part. Ted is the state president of SAR, Sons of the American Revolution, and we're so glad to have y'all with us.
Well, we're glad to be here, Diane, and whoever's in charge of weather, we are happy that they've held the rain off.
Well, we know who is.
I brought my magic wand just in case, but we're pleased to be here.
Yeah.
And what a good turnout.
Yeah, and that reminds me, our DAR motto is God, Home, and Country, and that's what we're trying to promote.
Right. And this is sort of where it all began.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Good.
among these backcountry folk.
That's right. That's
Good
right.
folks.
Right, let me return the pistol.
Return to
This is part of the Confederate camp. This is Roy Christie. So glad you came. This is Roy Christie. Tell us about your outfit.
I'm with the 2nd South Carolina Cavalry Reenactment Group, and we're proud to come up here every year and participate in the Pioneer Day, and we always have a good time. And I portray the first sergeant of the Company B of the 2nd South Carolina, and when we have to put on the blue coats, we become the 9th Pennsylvania. So
That's right.
We just have a good time. We're a statewide organization, member of the Palmetto Battalion, and we've been to Gettysburg, to Alabama, and all over the country, having a good time. I've been doing this since 1960.
And you're part of the Confederate Museum in Greenville,
Yeah,
too.
I'm in Lawrence.
Oh, okay. But you help out up there, too, I think. Or hey.
Well, we have a Confederate, our Sons of Confederate Veterans Camp in Greenville operates a museum on Boyce Avenue, and we invite people to come up there. We're open 3 days a week, and it's free. And also in Lawrence, the Lawrence County Museum, we're open on Sunday afternoon, 2 to 5, and it's free. And we invite people to come and enjoy and look at things of the past, of what we growing up did and used. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Mr. Christie has been real important in preserving history in Lawrence County, helping start the museum and finding Fort Lindley, a Revolutionary fort.
And I restored the Durra House, which used to be known as this used to be known as Durraville.
That's right.
Their children came over here and formed this town, you know.
That's right. The Dora cabin was in Hickory Tavern,
and
you've restored that.
Restored it, yes. And this used to be Durra Presbyterian Church,
right.
And their house is still standing.
Yeah, and it was the stagecoach stop. Right. This was the old wagon road to Georgia, and the stagecoach would stop at the Dora Inn, and there are Dora graves in this graveyard.
And I also heard that when the stagecoach was coming down the Georgia Road here to the stop, they would blow the trumpet or the horn how many times a passenger had, so that the Duras would have the table set for how many passengers they had.
That's right.
That's really.
That's right. Hopefully one day we'll have a stagecoach going up and down Georgia Road.
That's right. Well,
and make it a scenic byway.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. And I appreciate what you do here.
Yeah, those Confederates on horses in the parade were your group, and you were in the parade too.
That's right. That's our group.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting us.
This is the old Gray Court Cemetery. Some people call it the Dora Cemetery because the first people who lived here were the Doras. It was called Doraville. They started the Presbyterian Church here. They had the old Dora stagecoach in and stop, and it is still here, just west of here on the old Georgia Road. The stagecoach would blow the horn to signal how many would be staying the night and staying to eat. There are Doras buried in this cemetery. We have 5 Confederate soldiers buried here and 1 from the North. And he stayed and married a girl here, and their child, their 2-year-old child, is the oldest grave in this cemetery. We have the Masonic Lodge from Fountain Inn doing our food, doing wonderful barbecue. They come every year, and we so appreciate them coming. Thank you. It's always delicious.
We enjoy doing it.
It's the Masonic Lodge number
192.
192 in Fountain Inn. John Helms is one of our Historical Society members, and he's also one of their members, and he started us out together.
He's the man getting the money over there.
Yeah. It smells wonderful. We're here in front of the Piney Grove School, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to introduce Dr. Stewart from Fountain Inn. He has given us his things for our doctor's office in Owings, and we so appreciate that. And he's related to the Paydens.
Right.
And who else? The Doras.
Yeah.
And he grew up out from Fountain Inn and served as a doctor in Georgia, Alabama, Georgia.
Well, Fountain Inn and later in Georgia.
Fountain Inn in Georgia. Yeah. And so he's been very supportive of our efforts. Thank you. So good to see you.
Okay. Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Good.
And, nice turnout today.
Yeah, we're enjoying it.
Rain might scare folks away. It didn't, so.
This is the Piney Grove School. It was an African-American school in the Youngs community, just about 4 miles east of here. It was still in use in 1954. We think it was started in the late 1800s, and we have interviewed people who went to school here. It's a wonderful example of early education here. Many people went to the one-room schools, and we're very thankful to have this school. We do tours and we teach people how education used to be. This is the inside of the Piney Grove School. The last teacher to teach in here was Maudie Stoddard Childs. This is her picture right over here. She taught here, and this school was still in use in 1954. She was a child of the Stoddards who lived here on Georgia Road in Gray Court, and her sister Gladys Stoddard Henderson gave us that picture. We gathered various memorabilia from the early schools. The early schools would have had these slab benches to start with, and later on the little straight chairs. The teacher would cook lunch in the fire in a big black pot. The teenage boys would gather the wood for the fire and get the water from the spring. We have interviewed some of the students who attended this school. This was up on a hill off Bramlett Church Road and Piney Grove School Road, and a tree had fallen over the end, and we were so thankful to get it moved over here and preserved, and we do use it for teaching early American education and African American education. This picture is a replica of Winslow Homer's painting of a one-room school in about 1870, and this is just exactly the way it was here in the 1800s. The barefoot boys playing crack the whip at recess in the one-room school. This one includes George Washington and some of the soldiers of the Revolution, and we do work to teach the Revolutionary and the 1800s. Today we have a guest from Abbeville, Robert Hayes, who is portraying Jefferson Davis. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, if you're talking about me as President Jefferson Davis, of course I was the President of the Confederacy from 1861 until 1865, when unfortunately the Confederacy existed no more. Sad to say, but delighted to be here with you folks, and I'm just astounded at what y'all have done, and very pleased to see that y'all have restored so many of these very precious buildings.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We look forward to working with you. Preserving history is so important, and we are excited to learn about your group, and we'll look forward to working with you.
Yeah, come to Abbeville. You know, Abbeville advertised himself as the cradle and grave of the Confederacy. The first mass meeting to select delegates took place in Abbeville, and of course I, Jefferson Davis, held my last Council of War there.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Come join us in 19th, 20th of November for Old South Thanksgiving.
Okay, we'll have to come to Abbeville. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Diane Culbertson, the president of the Gray Court Owings Historical Society. This is Sarah Jane Armstrong, the vice president, and we have been in this from the beginning, working hard. And Sarah Jane has done so much to make Pioneer Day happen, getting everyone to come, making everything happen, organizing, and just done a wonderful job of promoting this. She always has.
And we just enjoy doing this. We're trying to preserve our past for future generations, and we're happy to see young people come out and make social studies exciting for them. And maybe they'll get motivated to read books and do more things.
We're having a great day today, and we invite you to come to see us. We're on our website is gcohistoricalsociety.org, and you can contact us for tours, and we would be happy to see you. Thank you. They're beautiful.
These are actually splash silkies. Now you have the blue, white, black, and I guess you can have some other colors. But if you take, there's red silkies too. If you take a blue and a black and a white, and you kind of put them in a group together in a flock, you can try breeding for the splashes. My sister-in-law has been trying to get splashes, a splash like that for 6 years.
So it's kind of like a calico kitten.
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of a mix.
But not.
But you can't get that coloring if you just have like blues or blacks or whites.
Oh. The goats are precious.
Yeah.
What kind are they?
These are Nigerian dwarfs. They're dairy goats. Now that male right there, he's almost full grown.
Oh.
He's 8 months old.
They're precious.
And this one is 4 months old. She's registered. Nigerian dwarf, and now that one is a Saanen and Nigerian mix, and her mama gives 5 quarts of milk a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 quarts. That's why I bought her.
Oh. And you milk them? Do you make cheese?
He actually does the milk.
I
do all the milk. And he does cheese making too. You make most of the cheese.
Where are y'all located?
We're up by Pumpkin Town. I can give you cards.
Yeah, thank you.
But in February, March, we usually have quite a few. Last year we had 17 babies born.
Oh.
That's another thing about Nigerian dwarfs is that they do multiple births. And what they do is they will, like this one here, it was one of 4 babies born.
They're beautiful.
So you can increase your herd very quickly. Oh, and they're only about 1 pound when they're born. They're so tiny.
They're precious. This is an old hay rake given to us by the Jean Curry family from the Lowry farm. We are trying to portray the old agricultural uses. We also have an outhouse that came from one of the old Owings farms.
Hey, Diane.
This is Howard Helms from Columbia and his wife, Brenda, and her brother, Roy Williams. And they are from, Howard is from the Helms family from Dials Church from 200 years ago. Yes. There was a Helms fort. Fort Lindley was Helms fort before it was Fort Lindley. And that's your people.
I didn't even know that.
That's right. So we just had a 200th anniversary at Dials Church, and they've been there, and we're so glad you came to see us today.
Thank you very much.
We are too.
Hey, Diane. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
We've loved every minute. It's
Good.
been absolutely fabulous.
Good.
A lot better than we even thought it was going to be.
Thank you. Better than we even thought. That's true. Thank you.
Well, it gets better
for all
and
the
better.
work.
Next year we're going to take the kids out of school in Florida and bring them up there.
Good. Do that.
Grandchildren.
Do that. That would be wonderful.
Wonderful seeing you.
Okay. This is a molasses mill. It was given to us by the Stoddard family here in Gray Court out on Georgia Road. Duke Stoddard, Ellington Stoddard gave it to us. My father remembered taking sorghum to the Lassie mill, a molasses mill, and it would have had poles coming out that a mule would go round and round to make these gears turn, and they would feed sorghum in to squeeze the syrup out. Then they would cook it and make sorghum syrup or molasses from sugar cane. Okay, we're here with the Garden Gate.
Garden Gate Cards and Rabbit Park.
Garden Gate Cards and Rabbit Park, and they always come and look at these beautiful photos they do with their bunnies. They make cards, they have a website, and they always come and bring their beautiful bunnies to be petted. And
we enjoy meeting the people and introducing them to purebred pedigreed rabbits. We've raised 22 of the 47 breeds, and we have 2 rare breeds with us today. We have the silver fox that breeds over 80 years old, and we have the blue-eyed Beverin right here on the table. This one here is Pebbles. Pebbles is a miniature Rex rabbit, incredible fur, and is featured in our calendars.
which one was the oldest one, the silver?
The silver fox my daughter's holding here. This is a youth that actually will get 2 times larger. This is actually an old American meat breed of rabbit. And they get very large, very good temperament, very gentle. But that's a silver fox breed.
Oh. Well, thank you for coming.
Well, we enjoyed it. We look forward to it again next year.
And they have calendars.
This is our second book. We've authored 2 books. We're working on a 3rd one, and they're fully illustrated, and they're complete with glossaries and footnoted for the breeds that we actually have pictured and illustrated in our books. We enjoy it.
This one is called On the Banks of Durbin Creek, and of course that's one of our creeks we used to swim in as children, and the gray cabin came from Durbin Creek.
Yes, ma'am. Durbin Creek flows into the Enoree River,
right,
and that's what we have included in all of our work here. This is all done locally. They love the strawberries too.
Those are beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, here's our morning glory. Quite often in the fall you see a field of all colors. We've got pink here, but quite often there's purple and blue and white. The beauty of the morning. Got an old-timey water pump here that Mr. Page brought to us. We'll talk to Mr. Page in a minute. They're showing us how you got water from the water pump. Of course, before that, you'd have to go to the spring, and God gave us water right out of the rock. Here we have a hit and miss machine and Mr. Page.
This is a 1914 Sears and Roebuck 5 horsepower hit and miss. These were mainly used on the farms before we had electricity. The farmer could take this engine with the belt pulley, belt it up to a cut-off saw for firewood, belt it up to a corn sheller, corn grinder for horse feed. He could do about anything with it that they would do use electricity for today. In 1914, this engine sold for $78, which was a lot of money.
Yeah. And that was an important piece of machinery to have.
It sure is, yeah. You never heard much about them, but these old engines are one thing that helped our farmers be the most productive in the world. One instance, they had an engine that was hooked to a saw. It used to take a farmer and 2 of his sons and 2 helpers 28 days to cut enough firewood to heat and cook with in the house. When the engine and saw came out, a farmer and 1 son could do that same work in 2 days. So that automatically saved the farmer 26 days right there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And tell us a little bit about your pump over here, the age of the pump.
The pump, that's 1887. I think it's an Enterprise pump. That came out of an old house down in Winsboro that was once a plantation house. This was on the ground. It wasn't used during the plantation times, but it's called a pitcher pump. That was a common pump that was usually used on the back porches and sometimes in the house on the sink. The more affluent families would have something like that.
Well, we so appreciate you coming.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Okay, here we have Steve Templeton and his wife, Sherry. And tell us what you're doing.
Well, I make the chairs and I use traditional tools to do that. The old mortise and tenon method, and use some of the old tools to accomplish that. This is a piece of maple. I've had it curing out for like 2 weeks, and it's dry. And I will take a spoke shave now, and I'll shave it down and smooth it up, and gives it the hand-carved look. I'll get my tool out here.
And I'll tell you, while he's getting it, he's a descendant of Templetons here in Great Court.
Yep, sure am. So you can actually see the coloration. It's oxide on the surface here. As you rotate it and use the shaving horse, it's just like a big wooden vise. I can use my foot to clamp the piece of material, and it frees my hands up to work with the wood. And those go back for hundreds of years, if not 1,000 or so, as far as using this method. And I will work up my material that I have available to me And then once I get enough material to make a chair or a stool or a basket or any other item, then I'll choose what I need to use to make that item, and then I will make a chair. This is a maple chair that I made. These are some old candle holders also that I made.
Aren't these wonderful chairs?
But hopefully the end product would look something like that. And I would also do the herringbone stitch on the seat, weave the seat in there.
And this is probably where honeysuckle went around.
Yeah, that there, I try to utilize whatever nature provides me. I love stuff like that. So I certainly don't try to carve it out. I try to utilize anything that may have years of being formed there, you know, to make that. Looks real nice.
You have wonderful old-time tools.
Yeah, I have a lot of different tools.
Yeah, and the candlestick.
The bracing bits, and I have an old spoon bit. That spoon bit would go back for hundreds of years. And it's really a neat little tool. And I have one here that I've been letting the kids use and drill the holes in there, and you can kind of watch how unique that thing is. It doesn't necessarily have a point, it has a radius, but yet it still is very adequate to cut a mortise. And I would use this to put a mortise in the chair post for a chair rung to go into. And the good thing about a spoon bit is you can rotate the direction. You can change directions if you see that you need to make an adjustment for the alignment of your chair. It'll allow you to do that without breaking the spur off that would normally be on another auger bit. So.
And children don't get to do this kind of thing every day, do they?
No, they love it.
They don't know it even exists.
Right.
And the old-time auger was used to make the holes to put a peg in when they built log cabins.
That's right. But you can see this is just, it's a pretty good fit, you know.
Yeah.
For just hand tools and different things like that. And I would use my draw knives to rough my pieces in. And I have some material here that's, you can see, is in a rough stage. It still has the bark on there. I'll utilize this small piece. I would use the shaving horse to get the bark off. And once I remove that bark, it'll allow a lot faster. And usually I let it cure for like 2 weeks, and then it would be ready to be used in some application. As you can see, the draw knife is just a super tool. It has a beveled edge on one side, flat on the other. So to remove the bark, I have the bevel down, and it allows me to lift up in contours and rough spots where the flat side would allow you to just flatten the surface out and get it a lot flatter and look a lot smoother there.
That's wonderful. And you're crocheting over here.
I'm crocheting.
And
I'm just using the yarn that I have left over from other projects and crocheting it to make a throw.
And that's warm in the winter.
It's warm in the winter. It's so cozy. And crocheting is just loops made from a hook and thread.
People would sit by the fire at night and do that.
Yes, and it's
They
so therapeutic.
Yeah.
So therapeutic. It's just relaxing in the evenings.
Right, right.
What's your pine needles? Did you bring a basket?
I do have a basket of pine needles. And I was going to start a basket while we were here today, but I didn't get a chance to get a fire going. But these are long pine needles, and I would use walnut slices to put in there to decorate, for decoration, and use raffia to sew it together. And you just coil it after you put these in hot water and soak them. They're pliable and they don't break. They bend really easy.
To make baskets.
And you coil them around and sew them with the raffia and make baskets, and they're beautiful.
And they made everything they had. If they needed it, they had to make it themselves. And they would make their containers and their furniture, and they were very, very self-sufficient.
They really were. They used all kinds of things out of nature for handles. You could put this on the basket top to make the handle.
Right,
and they just used whatever they had.
That's right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, here we are with the garden gate again. We were here and it had rained a few minutes ago, and they've set up for us again. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Loretta Hayward with Garden Gate Cards, and we have a rabbit park, Garden Gate Rabbit Park. We've been raising rabbits 17 years. We actually have some rare rabbits. These are American breeds, and my daughter Gloria here is holding a very young silver fox. This breed is an American breed, over 80 years old. And then my son also is holding one of the breeds. This is a miniature Rex, and Benjamin helps us with my whole family. We actually live on Durbin Creek, which we also feature in our books. Durbin Creek is right here local in Lawrence County. It flows into the Enoree River, and we just have enjoyed raising the rabbits and telling folks about them, but it's that fertilizer that helps our gardens. We are serious gardeners, and we enjoy the work immensely.
Your photography is beautiful and your books are darling.
Thank you so much. We've authored the 2 books. We have calendars, and we hope folks will visit.
And you have a website. They have a website,
GardenGateCards.us.
GardenGateCards.us.
Yes, ma'am.
And you see their work is beautiful, and of course Durbin Creek is where the Gray Nesbitt cabin came from. And we all went swimming there as children. Thank you.
Excited to be with you.
Yeah, so glad you came.
Enjoy this annual event.
I bet this is a pine needle basket.
That looks like one of the...
This is a pine needle basket the lady was talking about. Made out of pine needles.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Blues, and he's really been playing some wonderful music for us, and Van is with us. And Stephen Holmes, he did our poster for Pioneer Day. We've been using it for several years. He's a wonderful artist. And I'm going to let Hunter tell you a little bit more about the blues and his music. And
all right. Yeah, what we're doing, play a lot of the old-time string band and blues music from the 1920s and 30s. Mostly with an emphasis on the music that was from this region here in the upstate of South Carolina. Play a good bit of Pink Anderson's music, who was born in Laurens, grew up in Spartanburg, and Reverend Gary Davis, who was born in Laurens and then was given to his grandmother over here in Gray Court and raised.
From the Center Rabun community.
Yep, over here on 101, yep, right. Over there in Center Rabun. But yeah, just do what we can with this old kind of music, and that's about.
Great. Well, we love it.
Give it a shot.
Play for us.
All righty.
What song you want to play?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. You're in C? No, we'll stay in C. Well, this is C, F, and everything. Bow Weevil. First time I seen him. First time I seen him. Standing on my cotton square. Well, the first time I seen Bow Weevil standing on my cotton square. The next time that I saw him, he done moved his whole family there. Well, Mama took Bow Weevil. He took Bow Weevil, put him in a frying pan. That old Mama took Bow Weevil and he put
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. I liked you in there. Okay, here we have the artist Coup and
Square at Lawrence. I'm Elizabeth Morris. We're an artist cooperative in Lawrence on the square. We have about 16 members, all types of artists. Come see us.
they do a wonderful job there on the square in Lawrence, and just doing wonderful to bring art to all of us and encourage more people to begin doing art and sharing it. This is the old-time toys that the children, he's dancing.
Say thank you.
Hello, did you like that dancer? What's your name, sir?
John Douglas.
John, we're so glad you came. You make these toys?
Yeah. Hold it again.
Well, he has some more over here.
Just hold it still.
Hold it still, baby.
Look at him dance.
Did you do the bear? Okay, now if you just turn them loose, they'll come down.
These toys go back a number of years,
Oh
don't
yeah, they go back several hundred years.
Several hundred years. Back when they made their own fun.
Somebody had to make it.
Come, bring that around and show it to this man over here.
This?
Either one. These are wonderful.
This is the bag. I'm from North Augusta, and
Oh,
we
right.
have a reenactment coming up in October.
Okay. And Mr. John came here from North Augusta to do this for us today. Thank you so much.
I enjoy it.
It's so wonderful to preserve these things.
Oh yeah, well, I tell them that my second childhood is better than my first one.
Isn't that the truth? We do this what we want to now,
Yeah,
huh?
that's original in Russia about 10 years ago.
Really?
And back in June, I decided, May, I decided to see if I could make one, so I made them.
That's darling. Now we're with Ike Carpenter from Edgefield. And he's a wood carver, and he's our good friend, and he comes every year, and he's got beautiful work he's done.
Thank you.
Tell us what you're doing, Ike.
Well, I like, my favorite thing to carve today is spoons, because who doesn't like a spoon? Now, I've never met a woman that didn't like a wooden spoon. So I like to carve spoons. They're reasonable amount of time to carve one, sell it for a reasonable amount of money. Cherry is my favorite wood because it's always pretty. It always makes a good spoon, and you don't have to worry about wasting wood because the birds eat the cherries, the droppings make new trees, and they're everywhere. I get no problem at all. So I like to just cut a tree down into and cut it up into lengths, and then split it out. Take an axe and or a hatchet and chop it out. Put it on the shaving horse. Work it down with either whatever tool suits you, and just make a spoon. I also carve wooden bowls, which are upside down because they were collecting water a while ago. And you can, how about going around there and just hand me one. There you go. Now this one's kind of a challenge. This was a nice bowl, but it cracked on each end. And our ancestors would not have thrown this away right away. They would have taken corn and ground it up into a meal with the husk on it and wet, watered, and then fill that crack in, and they could use this bowl for years by just keep filling the crack with meal.
Yeah, well, let me say something while you're talking about that. Sometimes we'll find one in an antique store that they have actually worn through a hole from kneading that. They use their hands to make the biscuits.
Wouldn't you like to see the knuckles on those?
I know, and they would wear a hole in the bottom and patch it and still use it.
Yeah, that's right.
Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without.
There you go. Exactly. I do other kind of carvings, such as carving stuff like balls inside of boxes. This is kind of a famous one because my dad saw one like it in Ripley's Believe It or Not back in the 1930s in the newspaper, and he carved one from the photo, and then in high school I carved this one. And I actually had a teacher that let me carve in class. I told her to keep me awake, so and I'd pay attention. Right. And what it is a ball in a box, little bitty chain links, and then leaving the post in the middle of the 4 balls. Now I do a lot of this kind of carving, not as much as I like, but I do get some of it done. All kinds of chains and balls inside of boxes and love spoons. This is a shaving horse, and most of my work is done on this tool right here. And this goes back 300 or 400 or 500 years in England, Germany, and in the Eastern, Western Europe. So this is a really good tool for working with. I carve shoes and pigs and boots and all that kind of stuff too, and a lot of other different things, but this is primarily kind of what I do.
Right. Show them this and this too. Oh. They use those a lot to make a roof on a cabin.
Well, this is your #1 tool for making shingles on a roof. And again, you cut and you're making spoons. You can also use it. You go out and you cut a piece of wood the length you want. You take a froe and you hit the froe with a mallet, one lick, and you got it. If you tried to saw that with this, it'd take you a half hour, probably.
And that's a bow saw, right?
This is a bow saw. If you tried to cut long grain. So you only want to do that when you're making really fine little boxes or boards for making pretty stuff like this. When you making you chopping out with sort of primitive tools, you don't want to go to all that trouble for all that sawing. Just split it in two and go to work with it. Take a hatchet like this right here. By the way, this hatchet is made by one of Doyle Harper's students, and this is steel from the old Cooper River Bridge steel down in Charleston. So it's made a really nice little carving hatchet out of it. And this is what I carve most of my spoons and bowls out with now, is this right here. And there are different ways that different woodworkers use. But talking about using the froe, I chop down real quick to where I want my handle from both sides, then take the froe and just split it off again. Now the froe is used to split anything of sort of short pieces that you needed, from table legs to ladder rungs to tool handles to shingles on the roof and spoons. I didn't hit it so hard because I didn't want it to go down and knock this piece off. And I'll do that on both sides. Then I'll clamp it down in here. Now let me do a little bit of that if you don't. Okay. I'm gonna turn my back to you. All right. And I'm almost too old and fat to do that anymore.
You're great, Ike.
Now this is not my regular dumb head. This one is, but the one that goes on here, I got to talking last night as I was loading up and forgot to load it in my truck, so I had to make one this morning when I got here. And this is a draw knife. It allows you to get some really serious work done with this tool. This is just absolute backbone of woodworking right here. This is the way to do it.
And that holds it for you while you work.
And it holds it so I can use 2 hands, and I can take the bark off and large pieces of wood, either one. And the thing about it is you can control it simply by raising and lowering the handles. And if I can get it to hold it, and I want to get rid of that pith though. I don't want to leave the pith because that's where my spoons will crack if I leave that pith.
Because it's moist, is that right?
No, it's not moist. It's just the center, and it dries. It dries and cracks the wood from that pith part. So you want to try to stay away from that if you can, especially in your wooden bowls. But every woodworker I've ever known tries to cheat Mother Nature every now and then for some reason. It's just the way we are, I think. But this really, when you got everything working good, this really does work good. And you can actually, if your wood's right, you can actually have that where you won't even need a plane to plane it down. It'll be smooth. But if it's not, when you get the spoon carved out pretty close like you want it, your finishing tool is called a spoke shave. And it's a tool with the blade set a certain depth. And it works okay on wet or green wood, but it works even better on dry wood. And I know it looks like it's doing the same thing as the other one, but really and truly, this is your finishing tool. Chairs, tool handles, all that kind of stuff. This is really, feel that right there. Look at that, see how smooth that is? And when the wood's dry, it will be even smoother. You can look at some of these spoons that I've already carved here.
Well, this is great, Ike. We'd love for you to come. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We've got Richard Fowler with us. He is getting ready to take us on a tour of Ireland and Wales. And he writes books, and he does all kinds of wonderful genealogy books. And today he has some exchange teachers with us. I'll let you tell a little bit about that.
Well, we have 3 teachers that are working in Spartanburg. And Patricia is from Colombia. She teaches, I'm sorry, Romania.
Romania.
And she's teaching music at Converse.
Oh, wow.
Katia is from Colombia, and she's teaching Spanish to little children. And Ioana is from Romania, and she also teaches Spanish in the elementary school.
We're
And they
so
speak
glad to
very
have
good
you.
English.
Wonderful. Well, we would not do as well in your country, but we're glad you do.
Thank you.
Been here.
Well, I've been here for 2 years.
And I've been here for 1 year.
I've been here the longest. I've been here for 10 years. Because I came here to study at Converse College. And then I stayed.
And well, your music that you teach, do you teach like international music? Do you give them a flavor of your country?
I try to talk about my country. I try to teach them, I teach piano, and I try to teach them pieces by Romanian composers.
Wonderful.
And
That's what I like to do when I go to
classical
another country. Eat their food, see their dance and their music and their culture and their costumes. And we've lost a lot of ours because we're such a melting pot. We have so many different countries. I have people from everywhere in my bloodline. So some of our dance and music, we're not sure yet. We're still figuring it out. We have to look back to find out who we were. We're so glad to have y'all with us.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to talk about to us?
Well, we just got here, so we just want to look around.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Come back to see us.
We will.
Thank you. We're here with Different Strokes. They're always at Owings Music Hall, and they are wonderful. Here we are. These are part of the Arnold family. What's your name?
I'm Jessica Arnold.
Jessica Arnold.
Rachel Arnold.
Rachel Arnold. They're going to play for us. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. We enjoyed it. Okay, here we are with Ms. Looney and Ms. Coleman, and they have been, this is the third year that they've done this project together, and Ms. Looney has made this quilt to raise funds for the Historical Society, and we have raised several $100s each time.
I think so.
And isn't that a beautiful quilt? Thank you, Ms. Looney.
Well, thank you. Now, this is the one we're going to be auctioning off. Would you like to show
Over
that
on the
one?
table.
Yeah. That's the one we're going to auction off. And I've enjoyed making the quilts for you every year. We did raise a little money to help out.
Yeah, and it's such a wonderful art. People use their scraps of what was left over to make something to be warm and beautiful, and all those old patterns.
That's right.
And do you still have your little quilting shop?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I just quilt.
But she does a wonderful program on the Underground Railroad to do with
true.
quilts.
The Underground Railroad. Enjoy doing that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Well, we've had a wonderful day today. A lot of people have come by, and they brings back a lot of memories for them when their grandmothers or great-grandmothers did quilting.
Right.
So.
And Ms. Coleman is from the Stoddard family right here in Owings. So thank you both.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Isn't that cute? A lot of times we have a quilt show. This is the one that we'll have a drawing for.